course, mix the population up completely, uproot them. A whole generation of men disappears. The next generation of men is brought up by widowed mothers. And then there are enormous transplantations of, for instance, in Germany, all the Germans who were east of the Iron Curtains flooded into Western Germany, married Western Germans, and so on. They have no roots, they have no love to the village. They settled in a village because they got a job there, but they don't love the village, and so on. So that makes for a rootless population, and the rootless population looks for only what they have before their nose: a good job, money, a flat, schools for the children to bring them up. That's ABC. Naturally, I would do the same thing. I mean, if you are thrown out of your country, that's what you look for in the other country. And that destroys all human relationships, be the grandmother, the grandfather, the aunts being together, knowing the village. Everybody knew you when you were a little child. You are contained in a family. If you lose your father or mother, the whole neighbors come together and help you. And they knew your father and mother and so on. All these ties are broken. Mm-hmm. And we need continuity, historical continuity. And the more a population can have a time of long historical continuity, the more they get balanced. Because you see, I see it up here, how things regulate themselves. When I came up here, my neighbor, who's died now, who sold me the land, said, look here, up here in Moos, we are a little family. We quarrel all, we hate each other. He didn't talk to his own neighbor, never. They didn't greet each other. But we never go too far, because if we are stuck in the snow with the car, we have to help each other out. You wouldn't help me out, wouldn't you? I said, yes, I would. So he said, you see, for instance, one peasant cuts a tree across the border of the other peasant. He doesn't make a lawsuit. He smiles. And he cuts also a tree on the other side of the border. And then they meet again in the inn and they have a little grin at each other. And that's all there is. And so the shadow is balanced out. Mm-hmm. And you don't call the state in and the whole injustice of so-called justice. It's all settled on human level. And everybody knows everybody's shadow and says, don't tell that lady that and that. You know she's so and so. Gossip is a form of low kind of psychological analysis of each other, you see. Uh-huh. And so everybody's contained. And now I feel, first I was the foreign queer lady here with a funny house. But now that I'm here for a long time, the peasants come to me and talk we the Bollingen people, don't want Jona to do that and that. I belong. Uh-huh. That makes me very happy. Uh-huh.
And Switzerland has had a long history.
Not much yet. It has also big towns, and there we have all the troubles we have in the world. Mm-hmm. But we have still big areas of little towns and villages where the great-grandfather is buried in the churchyard, mm-hmm. and where people just follow on the rhythm of the past and are contained in a natural community.
There must be something, though, in the psychology of the Swiss, not just the geography, that has allowed this introversion of war, as Miss Hannah once put it, so that war isn't acted out.
Well, I don't think we are better. It is just we are so small mm-hmm. that we can't act out war. Mm. I mean, we can't attack Germany or France or Italy. We are the smallest. And therefore, we have to defend. We are like a hedgehog. We just try to defend our little country, and we can't afford exploding with our shadow against the others. We would nicely get it if we did. Mm-hmm. So we have a shadow. We can't explode outside. So that has finally made us reasonable to look at our own shadow. It's the same as a neurotic patient. Generally, he only comes in analysis to look at his shadow when he has quarreled with his whole surrounding so badly that he has to. Then he says, my God, perhaps it's me, let's look at it. And that's how it's gone with us. And then slowly the Swiss got reasonable and realized the advantage of it and made it an institution. Our democracy is an institution of quarreling with each other on the basis of certain legal limitations.
Mm-hmm.
We have a constant hot, not cold, but hot war among each other.
Mm-hmm.
But we are respecting certain fair play rules where it could get too bad.
Well, do you think that the big powers in the world, like the United States and Russia, are learning their limitations now at all?
I think that is my hope, that they get into the same situation that they can't afford a war anymore, and therefore get confined to their own
borders.
And if they are confined to their own borders, then they will have to confront themselves with their inner difficulties. What's wrong in their own country.
Mm-hmm. So
the Russians will have to look at their dissidents and take them a bit more seriously. And America will have to look at their commercial dealings, which are a bit too rough. Mm-hmm. And look at the shadow there.
Mm-hmm. In that case, a depression might be the beginning of a healing process.
Yes, certainly. It's a great advantage. A depression is a blessing of God. I mean, in the individual, it's the greatest blessing somebody can have.
Not used to looking at it that way.
Jung always talked about the blessing of a neurosis, because it's the only way you are tempted to look within. As long as things go out well, you run away from yourself. Or most people do.